Hi, replayers. I promise I'll be here in just a moment, but might as well wait until some people pop on so they can tell me what's going on in their life. Find some music in the meantime. Let's go with that. If you're here, make sure you pop in and say hi. Hey, Sean, how are you? Hey, Bill, good to see ya. I'm just gonna share this over to, hey, Mandy. Hey, Lisa. How you guys doing tonight? So what are we working on? Like, you guys got another day left in the week. What are you closing the week out with? Like, how are you gonna like kill it? And I'm gonna just apologize right now for this. I blame my father. This is my father's doing right here. All this. And Julia Roberts. I blame them. Hey, Janae, how are you? So, yeah. Hi, how are you? Perhaps I got that backwards. I don't know if you got that backwards. Hey, Prashan, how are you, dude? Trumpets, really? You come here to... Oh, Lord. Hustling for you, girlfriend. Yay! Thank you, Mandy. You're the best. Totally stealing you from Johnny. He's not here yet, maybe, so I can say that before he gets on. I'm just gonna pop over here and share this. So what else are we working on this week? How are you closing out this week? What is this right here? What is that? Sorry, I like to make fun of myself from time to time. I'm such a dork. I want to know what's happening. You got to fill me in because this is not always just about me. This is also about you. If you haven't noticed yet, that's kind of how I roll. So I would love to know what you're doing. I'm going to share this over to the Hero Academy and over to my page. So if you don't know, I have a little like pro page. So it's just Janae Michelle. You can find me there too. So if you want to like say hi or pop over from time to time, I put some fun like memes over there that I really love. Hey Amber, how are you, doll? All right, that's done. We're going to talk about running into the fire tonight because it is so important to do. Hey Shannon, how are you? You might be thinking, what the fuck is she talking about? Hey, Julie, running into the fire, like how the hell could that be anything, right? Like how could that be good for me? And I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. Well, maybe not even a few minutes. Just give me another maybe minute. But I really want to know what you're working on or what was really great about your week. How about that? For those of you who don't know what you're working on, we need to work on that. But for those of you who had something cool happen this week, I'd love to hear about it and share it with the rest of us so we can like give you a little round of applause and what have you. And that way we can celebrate what you've been doing. So either way, how you're finishing your week or what happened this week, that's awesome. You can tell I am in a new place because there is absolutely nothing around me. Although that is a brick wall. I don't know how much stuff we're actually going to put on the brick wall. It requires drilling, and I'm just really not sure I'm ready for that kind of commitment. All right, well, nobody wants to tell me what they're up to, so I guess I'll just start talking. You guys can fill me in later, I guess. So I wanted to talk about heading into the fire. And this is a space that we typically also often try to avoid because, we're programmed to avoid pain. Our brains are programmed to do that. We're programmed for survival. So any time that you're going to have a pain situation come into your life, you are probably going to do everything you can to avoid it. I'm going to tell you that you better run the straight fuck at it. Yeah, with open arms and welcome it. Because especially if you are in a rut, if you feel stuck, if you're unsure of what your heading to in life. I mean, I just really wish that somebody in my life years ago would have said, run at the fire. Just trust that the universe has your back and run at the fire and shake me until I fucking got it. Because, hey, Catherine, because I think it's super important that you understand what the fire teaches you. It is so important that it's there in front of you for a reason. It's there to create some kind of change in your life. And it may not look very good. It may look, quite frankly, like a big bag of shit. And it doesn't matter because you still need to run at it. And the more that you avoid the fire, you know, the problems, the challenges, the struggles, the discomfort, all of those things that are in that pile of, you know, crap, the more that you are going to remain in a constant state of what if, a constant state of mediocrity, a constant state of stagnation, a constant state of, you know, feeling like you're missing something or that you're not being told some secret that the rest of us have and you don't have. It's because you are avoiding the pain, you are avoiding the fire, you are avoiding the things that are really going to make you who you are. And feel it. Like, feel it in your soul. Hey, Kelly, how are you? My beautiful Aussie sister. And I think it's important that you understand what and you know what, and Kelly can tell you about this anyway. She's run through the fire. Like, she knows what that is, and she's come out on the other side of that better because of it. And if I would have known back then that running into the fire would completely change and shift my life so I could step into being this person, then I would have done it a long time ago. I have come out of a lot of fires intact. Well, maybe. Well, we come out on the other side different, that's for sure. And it doesn't matter if you're intact or not, right? Hey, Philip. Glad to see you here. I should say Phil, right? Oh, Philip, whatever, right? And it does change us. But you see, yeah, exactly. So Kelly, you totally know what I mean. I mean, I think we've both been through some of that stuff. And if you could just see that it's there to teach you something, then we could be looking, you know, at fires and pain in a whole different way. And it would change literally the chemical makeup in your body. So here's the thing. Our brains, like I said, are wired to keep us away from pain. It's a natural tendency to do because our brains want us to survive. Very noble. But unfortunately, the more continuous you make things and the more similar chemicals that you make in the brain, you know, the more dependent that you become on it. So if your systems are the same every day, if your, you know, level of learning is the same every day, if your level of commitment to things, hey Lindsay, is the same every day, if you aren't taking chances or if you are just waiting for things to come to you, you are going to create the same chemicals. And what happens when we create the same chemicals, we get dependent on them. I just got done hot tubbing under the stars. Well, that's good. That's a good reason. You know, so we become dependent on those chemicals, just like we would if we were doing a drug, you know, and our brain likes that complacency because it knows what to expect. It knows that there's no surprises. It knows it's definitely not painful, right? So it tries to keep you at that equilibrium all the time. What happens when you go through this chemical, when you have too much of this chemical in your body constantly? I'm speaking from science. It's not me just speaking, right? I'm not just like blowing shit out of the air. This is science stuff. That, you know, you will start depleting your body of that. Now, this will happen if you're making any kind of, you know, emotional chemical in your body. Hey, Heather, I'm glad you made it. And so whether you're making like anger or stress or anything like that, but this chemical you're going to be becoming dependent on is going to start altering its state, because you are going to become, you're going to overtax your body to make it for you. Hey, Catherine, welcome. Hey, Kevin, glad you joined me. And what happens when you tax your system that way? Thanks, Phil. When you tax your system that way, you will start making a form of that chemical that's a little less pure. And it doesn't matter if it's anger or if it's happiness, right? You're going to make a little less pure of that chemical. What happens when we make, I decided to do color tonight. When we decide to make that chemical over and over again, we make a synthetic version of it. So it's not exactly the chemical of anger. It's just, anger with a different DNA. And if you keep making that synthetic, what does that do? Like, it becomes an abnormal chemical. And what do abnormal chemicals do in the body? They create disease. They create cancers. They create sickness and illness and colds and flus. I haven't been sick for years. I have fibromyalgia, and I deal with that. I don't take medication for it because I think it's horseshit, and I'm not willing to put that kind of chemical in my system. But I have not gotten sick in years, and I know it's because my brain has just adopted the idea that I don't get sick, and it has changed its mind about being sick, and it has changed. And honestly, my fibro isn't even as bad now. So, yeah, my fibro isn't even as bad now. I do get fatigued, but I'm learning to be patient with myself on that end. But I just have made a decision. I've made a new chemical over and over and over again that I don't get sick. And that takes evolution in different forms all the time, depending on, what might be going on in my life. So I know I kind of digress a little bit from the whole fire idea, but the idea is that every time that, hey, Lisa, that we have some kind of massive tragedy or some kind of adversity or crisis, essential needs, yes. That if you can just stop for a moment and not let panic take over your reactions or your actions, if you can allow yourself to see what it is. Hey, Megan, I had 2 of my little beer branders here. I love it. If you can see that connection point of pain and fire is there to actually shake up your life, then you will welcome it and you will embrace it. And you might not like it, but I promise you will come out a different person on the other side of it. And it might just change everything in your life. And I'm speaking from total experience, because I have been handed a lot of bullshit on different occasions. And when I adopted the idea of just, being this victim, that things happen, like I'm just a person that it happens to, right? Like I'm just these bad things happen to. I even had to catch myself yesterday because of, just something random that happened in my world. And I had to stop myself and go, doesn't matter. It's here to teach me something, and I'm going to be just fine. So I bring this up because I really wish when I was, 20 or 21 or 24 or 26, I really wish that somebody would have brought this idea to my attention. Hey, Alex. And shook me until I got it. Because the more that you try to stay away from that pain, and the more that you try to avoid crisis, and the more that you try to break from adversity and make your life comfortable, ultimately the more that you will suffer. I know that sounds crazy. You wish that also. Yeah. I mean, it obviously makes us who we are. Hi. And we come to understand and be grateful and have gratitude for those situations as we get older, because we see how they change us. But to have a little bit of that perspective early on would have been really helpful for me. I would have tolerated less bullshit in my life. I would have understood love better. I would have understood success better. I would have understood that I control what happens here. This is my world. I control this. I control everything about it. I am the puppet master. I am the magic maker. I control everything that happens here. And as soon as I started understanding that connection, and when adversity comes at me, a lot of people will even come to me with empathy, which I totally appreciate. If they know about it in the first place, or they know my situation or something, they'll come at me with, the sadness or the upsetness. Sorry, the dog. I mean, it's just gross. I know. Just bear with me. I can't even concentrate with this noise. And it doesn't help because I have no furniture in our place yet. So everything bounces off the walls in here. Are you done? Okay, great. That was fun. That little break brought to you by Max, the boxer. I totally don't even remember what I was saying. But anyway, so, I think it's just really important that, as I've looked at, I remember what I was saying. Because when, people come at you and they try to tell you like they're sorry, they're just affirming that sadness, that anger, that hurt, that disrespect, or whatever it is that's going on in your life, right? So I would say don't accept that in many ways. Like you can say, oh, thanks, but you'll maybe even see me do it on comments or anything like that. Or when people know about my situation, even with my son, he just moved further away from me, and I know people have empathy for that because it's not traditional to be a long distance parent. But I've chosen not to let it be a negative in my world. I've just decided it's just not going to be a negative. It's not a negative in my world. And it's weird because I wrestle with that dichotomy because it's a cognitive dissonance for me. And thanks, Lindsay. It's going from what the cultural perspective has taught me about what a mother is and what she does and how she is, versus how I feel and how I think. Hey, Carla, I'm glad you made it. How I think it should be. And personally, just my own belief patterns. And it's not easy to go on your own belief patterns because it's painful, because people don't understand, and because you will be questioned, and because people will have empathy and try to bring you back over, and not for the wrong reasons, for all the right reasons, because they may really care about you. But it is your responsibility as a human being to understand that alignment and why it's good for you or why it's good for your life. So if you're faced with any of that at this moment, whatever that adversity is, exactly, Lindsay. See, now you see what I'm talking about, right? So, I have just decided that, like when I am going to visit him, that I am going to have a new adventure with him. We are going to get to learn more together, that I'm going to build my business into a new community. Like I have a foothold of some things that happened in Nashville. And I've done some work in some business and some speaking in that city, and I have contacts there, and I've built my business into that market. and I used it to my advantage that he was there. So I would like to understand why your beliefs are that you and your son are best apart. It's not that we're best apart. It's about making a choice to believe that, you know, proximity doesn't dictate what your relationship looks like. If I'm going to show him how to live in this world and how to be a successful adult, then showing him that you can overcome any obstacle that's placed in front of him, depending on what kind of choice he wants to make. And it allows him to be able to be that kind of adult, be able to, you know, understand that he can make those decisions in his life that are going to be best for him, that he can overcome adversity with just making a choice about it, just understanding that he can have that kind of control over his life, that he is not subject to circumstance. So he'll be 10 soon, actually. Hey Amanda, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So it's just one area of my life where I had come to terms with it, because, you know, when the courts decided that he was going to be with his dad, and, you know, we just, you know, kind of came together in that way. No, I didn't do anything to lose my kid. It just worked out that way. No rhyme or reason. But in the beginning, I wanted to hate the situation, and I fought it for a while, and I was the victim, and I couldn't believe that it was happening to me, and it was painful, and there's a certain amount of pain that comes with it every time I see him. Saying goodbye to him is tough, but we get through it, and we have a intentional relationship that I know people who are full-time parents that don't have with their children. Because it's intentional, because there is a certain level of connection, and it's an amazing connection. I can't see him on the weekends because he lives 4 states away. So, and I think it just really is a matter of conditioning. Like, what are you conditioned to believe? And are you conditioned to believe that only good parents are parents who are in their kids' lives full time? Well, where did you learn that? Who said that was right? It just is. You can't tell me who taught it, right? Who taught it to you? You can't tell me who said it was the right thing. You just adopted it carte blanche without even asking whether it was legitimate or not. So once you start breaking down actual belief patterns to that level, you start understanding that you are not a victim in any aspect of your life. It's just like, oh, you know, I'm never going to have money in my life. I'm just always struggling, or I'm always just making this amount of money, or what have you. Then get prepared to be that way for the rest of your life. I mean, when I see like my bank account not looking the way that I want it to be, I go full hustle mode, and I'll make hundreds of dollars in a day just because I've decided I'm going to. No joke. Like, I decided, like, I looked at my funds this week, and I'm like, well, I'm not hitting where I want to hit. So I'm going to go full hustle mode. I'm going to offer awesome services. I'm going to offer some amazing programs, and I'm going to go full hustle. And I'm going to bring in hundreds of dollars this week. Probably more than that, maybe even to the thousands space. And it's because I just made a decision to. So it's about what kinds of decisions that you're going to make, and what kinds of fires that you're willing to run into, or if you are going to bury your head in the sand and pretend that everybody is doing something to you, or the universe is doing something to you, right? So that's why I say, you know, really, really get clear about what the adversity is in your life. And if you keep avoiding it, you aren't going to grow. And you're not going to thrive you're not going to be living in your truth either. You may even not even discover your truth, because sometimes, like, I would not be the person I am today had I not gone through a lot of those fires. Hey, Jen, how are you? It's so good to see you. I would not be this person. I would not have written a book that, you know, hit in the top 5 of a Amazon bestseller list. I would not have become a coach thinking that I can help people, guide them on their path. I would have thought, oh, like, who am I to teach? Who am I to, you know, to speak up? Who am I to tell people how they should live their life? You know, so had I not gone through these fires, I would not be who I am. And so now I actually live in this a lot of uncertainty. I thrive in uncertainty. When things are kind of up in the air and they're willy-nilly, and, you know, like when I'm building a program and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know all the details of, you know, my program, but I'm supposed to launch it today. Should I be panicked? And I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. I already know I'm going to kill it. I already know that it's going to be amazing, because I know how I want to serve. I know how I want to help people. I know how I want to, you know, support people's lives so they're living into their best life. I know how I want them to become their own hero. And so I don't worry about the small details anymore. I used to like to get so wrapped up in the details. And I used to be so concerned with being ready. And I used to be so concerned with, you know, having my shit together and looking like a big girl. And now I just don't fucking care. Now I just do what I really feel is in my soul to do. And if I can teach just one more person to do that each day, I'm living my truth. And it feels really good. And that's what I want for other people, because that uncertainty of not knowing if someone's going to grow, or you're going to be able to help someone each day, or not knowing where your next dollar is coming from. Like, I don't have a steady paycheck, guys. I don't have money that I can count on every week, or every month for that matter. And I'll share your part. Your feelings do matter, though. Oh, my feelings are great, though. I feel great about it. Feel talky. I'll have to go back and read some of these comments. They kind of cut out because I only get so much of it. But I'll go back and respond. You know, it goes beyond actual positivity. So it's kind of interesting, Catherine, that you bring that up. It really does go beyond positive, because I think you can tell yourself so many times that you're going to be positive about something and not believe it. This is a bunch of bullshit. Like, it can be bullshit. And I'm really quite happy. I could not be who I am today if I was a full-time mom. And if I were a full-time mom, I would readjust and evolve my life. Happily, obviously. But it's not my situation. So I can either let it tear me apart every fucking day of my life, or I can go, I'm going to make this rad, and I'm going to make his life rad, and I'm going to show him how he can overcome anything. Because the last thing I want him to do is be, you know, have no challenge in his life and think that that's the way the world is, because that's just not fucking truth at all. And we all know it, because we all live in the world, real world, right? Hey, Joy. So, you know, I'm hoping that my storage is almost full. I'm hoping that, you know, you can run into the fire more often, and that you can welcome the adversity when it does knock on your door, and, you know, and allow the challenges to be your teachers, and know that it's going to make you who you are. And don't consider that you don't have to avoid them. So I hope that serves you tonight. I know it's a very different lesson. I know it's a very different belief system, but I'm all about tearing down the limited beliefs, because they are what keep you in a state of pain permanently, or struggle or stuck or not living into your purpose or not understanding your message, it's because of those reasons. So anyway, that's all for tonight. I am going to go back to work because I have a few things to do for my Soul Tree series tonight, and I'm just utterly in love with that series already. So I'll come back and read the comments a little bit later since I can't see all of them anyway. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing night and the rest of your week. And I'll see you on the flip side. Go be your own damn hero. Bye, guys.